Good afternoon, potato chips, wee Paddy, back again for another video as promised this morning. I done my drawing this morning for the 9,500 subs, and the winner hasn't contacted me yet. It's only just gone up not that long ago, but I hope he does, and I'll get the knife sent off to him, and I just can't thank you enough. Now, I'm going to be honest, get a cup of tea, go and sit down in a dark room and watch this video. It's probably going to go on a bit because I was going to do a review on this today, a full review, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to talk about it a bit, but I'm going to leave it. But I just was getting some of my UK made knives out that I've collected. Most of these has been this last year, and I just didn't realise, as you don't, being a collector, how many I've got. Now, these are not all of them. I have a lot of this type that are older models that I have to do up and do all sorts of things to them to bring them into working condition. But I just wanted to show them. It's a bit of eye candy. And there's a bit of a tease because one of these knives down here will be the first place giveaway prize for my 10,000 subs. We'll get to that at the very end. I'll give you a look at it. I'm not sure it's going to be one of two, but we'll see when we get to the end. You can see what you think. Anyway, and it's a wee bit about life just at the start. I'm really sorry. I haven't even read the comments of my last video. And I just wanted to apologise for that. You know, if I don't give you a heart, it means that I haven't read the comment. I don't tell lies and just hit hearts. I actually read it, then I hit the heart. And I haven't hit any in the last video, I don't think, at all. Maybe one now, I'm come to think of it. But I will get round to that probably today or tomorrow and answer those who need answering and give you a heart. And then again, I'm going to be answering this one. But it's a going process. And please do not think I don't like comments. I love them. It's just recently, over this last probably 6 to 8 weeks, I have had 8 members of my close family have got COVID. Now, the the good side, is there a good side to that? Well, 3 of them were adults, 2 of my daughters and my son-in-law. They have had it and they got a very mild case of it, and it's slowly passing. They're getting back to health. The 5 grandchildren that have got it range in ages right the way through young to young teenagers. And there's 2 of them still suffering a wee bit, but not too much. It's more headaches and lethargy and things like that, sore tummies. But they're getting better. I have another one about 2 days ago. We had to go back up to Bangor again. One of my wee grandsons, he's caught it and he hasn't been feeling great. He's going back for another test today to see how he is. But that's life. And look, I'm blessed because none of them have taken it seriously, and I thank God for that and pray for them every day, as I know we all do for our families, and especially as things are going on at the minute. It's just been horrendous all around the world. There's so many things happening, so my problems are small. But they do take up some of your time when you're a grandparent and you're running about here and there. So it's not an excuse. It's just what's been happening. So that's life out of the way. Apart from that, life is pretty good. I'm getting it really pretty good at the minute. No complaints. Me and Sally have been able to stay at the caravan all summer. We're here till the end of October full time. Then we get back up home, and then we have every weekend down here. So for me and Sally, life is pretty good. We've had to stay away from our grandchildren, and that's not good. But that's life. As long as everybody's healthy and wealthy, healthy, healthy and doing okay, and they all are. So there we go. I mean, Sally weren't too well for a few weeks too in between all that. So, but it's the blessings are they've just been a minimal inconvenience to our lives. For those of you out there who are getting it much worse, and especially in America at the minute with these storms, my hearts go out to you for all those soldiers that have come back home and are feeling as if, and I mean soldiers, sailors and airmen and women that are coming back home feeling as if it was all in vain. For me personally, as an ex-serviceman, There's nothing in vain. You done what your country asked of you, and you done it to the best of your ability, and yous are all amazing. From all the NATO forces that were out there, I thank you for what you done, and I don't believe for 1 second any of it was in vain. You gave a country 20 years of virtual peace compared to what it was. You took ISIS out of the picture for 20 years, and for that, I'm internally grateful because they came to my door. And that has been sort of put on hold, thank goodness. I hope it continues to be that way. Time will tell. But as for servicemen, there's no regret on your part. No regret. You done what your country asked. And that's all anybody can expect of somebody that joins the armed forces. We don't have to agree with what it is, but if our country decides it, we do it. So, hands up, really good. And I meant, just while we're on the subject, I have a son, he's a lieutenant in the Royal Navy. Started as a 16-and-a-half-year-old little chef and made his way to lieutenant, which I'm really proud of. But he's done so many tours out in Afghan, Iraq, and on his last tour out there, he was doing a Hearts and Mind tour where he was going around the villages, handing out money and rebuilding stuff. And his interpreter out there, they got him out quite a while ago, probably about 2 years ago, from Afghanistan. He was on the wanted list, and they got him. He's living in Australia. But in all this commotion that was going on, about a month ago, his family got threatened that if he didn't come back to Afghanistan within a month, they were all going to get shot. So they couldn't get out in a rush. So my son, fair play to him, and Anna, really hands up to him. This is probably the most proudest moment of all, is he went on to his local MP here in Northern Ireland. They then got on to the Southern Irish government, because they were willing to act immediately. And they managed to get the young boy's family on. It was on the news over here. It's just an amazing little feat of one person who's still serving, who's still trying to help. And they managed to get his whole family out. And they're on their way now. They're not here yet, but they're on their way to Southern Ireland, where they're going to be given some accommodation and a new place to live. The son can't get over from Australia because there's a lockdown, but the relief in that young boy's voice, he was on the TV. They actually had the TV crew out in Australia and interviewed him. And I'm just so pleased for my son that he managed to do such a great thing to do. And it took all of his time for probably 6 weeks of working behind the scenes to get his family out. So a little good news story. Now, that's that all done. That's the business taken care of. Sorry, it took so long. It's about 7 minutes, and I haven't talked about any knives yet. But that's usual for me, isn't it? What I've got down in front of you here is some of my UK knives, my UK makers' knives. Some custom, some not custom. And I'm sort of going to go through them. You've seen this recently. This is a custom made by Ashley Harrison of Wright Brothers fame. Or Wright Son, I should say. Him and his dad own it. And I got this, so unusual for me. It's not my typical knife, but this was all handmade, including this beautiful, beautiful blade. Look at the end caps, the bolster. It's just absolutely beautiful. All handmade and done by Ashley. This was his first time at doing especially bolsters and all in the Damascus. And it's just absolutely stunning. Is it perfect? It's probably not perfect because some of the patterns are a little bit different on either side, but this was one that he was doing just for himself. He wasn't doing it for any good reason. And then he decided to put it up just for sale on Instagram, and I happened to be there. And I love him, but I follow him all the time. When he puts a post up, I usually get it. But I was the second person to see it, and I bought it. There and then, straight away, for a price that was just unbelievable. Just over £100 for this knife. And I've been using it because I wanted to use it. It is beautiful. I've never had a Damascus blade. You can actually feel the... Oh, you can hear that. You can actually feel it. It's really, really just so unusual for me. I've only got one other Damascus knife. I'll show you in a minute. But I've a name written down there on the back of the boy, Eagle Eyes, who won the giveaway. I've been using it to cut things like cardboard. It's just a beautiful cutter. Really, really lovely cutter. And it doesn't seem to leave any marks. So if anybody's got one and they've used it repeatedly, does it leave any bad marks on it? I mean, I want to use it. I don't want to hard use it, but I want to use this as part of my EDC carry. It's a good strong backspring like all Ashley's knives. I love them, but usually between a 7 and an 8. But that's just a stunning knife that I'm enjoying. And I want to wait and do the full review after I've used it a bit more. I've only ever had, this isn't a UK one, this is a Tucson Damascus. And you can see that there's different colours through the Damascus. It's just a beautiful piece of Damascus, I have to say. And a lovely snakewood handle with brass bolsters and rivets. Really lovely knife from Tucson. Not that expensive. No blade wrap, actually. You heard that slap. There's no blade wrap. It's just a nice spring. Beautifully fit and finish from Tucson. Highly recommend that if you see it. But to get back to the UK ones, some of these are brand new and some of these are older models, and I'm enjoying a bit of both. I'm nearly catching up with my GEC collection. Well, I would have more British ones, but a lot of them are older that I've got to do up. But I'm now starting to catch up with my GEC collection, which is about 23 knives, I think, at the moment. But I'm catching up on the better standard of knives in my UK collection of knives. This one is Ashley Harrison. This one is Ashley Harrison. This one is Ashley Harrison. All customs. You know, all this was just over 100. These two were under 100, which is just hard to believe. This is probably my favourite carry at the moment. He made this one specially. I gave him what I wanted, and I gave him license, and he just came back with this, which is just a stunning piece of workmanship. Absolutely stunning. And a beautiful big sheep's foot blade. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love it. And I've been carrying this regular. Now, I have been eating food with it, which is why there's not many marks on it. This is my one that I use from Ashley. And all these, I know his books are hard to get onto, but I've been speaking to him recently, and he's getting near the end of his big whack of orders that he got behind in due to COVID and other things, family things, and starting that, getting the business, keeping it going. He has to make knives for Arthur Wright as well, so that side of the business has to keep going. This is a beautiful spear point he made for me. Just a beautiful, I'm not sure what this hardwood is, but it is just stunning. Lovely grained hardwood. But this is a real just EDC work knife. I can't tell you how nice. I eat steak, anything like that there, any sort of meat. This is a really well used knife. So what else does Arthur Wright do? Never mind Ashley Harris. And I've got some of the Arthur Wright's names. Here's one that they do produce still now. This is it's like a green and yellow bone. I'm not sure what it's made of, but it's just lovely. Again, what I like about this is the backspring on these is just super. You've no fear when you're using these whatsoever. This is what I would call probably a lamb's foot. Just because it's thicker here and thinner at the end. But a lovely piece. Is this one perfect? This is the cheaper. These are about £30, so you're not going to get the same fit and finish that you get on a custom. But let me tell you, it's pretty gosh damn good. It's a little bit of gapping up here, but you've seen that opening and how sturdy it is. It doesn't affect functionality whatsoever. Listen to that closure and look at the blade. It's almost up the middle. Almost up the middle. Did you get that? There you go. Almost up the middle. Just a beautiful knife. For 30 quid, you can't go wrong. And this is sort of knives they do. Here's an older, and this is what I love getting the older ones as well. It's an older Arthur Wright. And again, it's a little lamb's foot. But how beautiful is that? Now, this is just plastic, but it's done so well, and a lovely shield. The back, yeah, a little bit of gapping, but it is absolutely nothing to do with the functionality of the knife. And this would have been a cheap knife with a plastic handle, but for an everyday, and it is a looker. I think that's a looker. Maybe I'm a bit odd, but I think that's a lovely looking knife for a cheap, cheap knife that's out and about there. What else? What other Arthur Wrights have I got? I'm not sure. This is a bone. Is this Arthur Wright? No, that's William Rogers, that one. William Rogers. Here's one I just picked up off Etsy. This is an Arthur Wright. Yeah, this is an Wright Son. This is their Barlow. Look at that beautiful clip point in that. That is one of the nicest Barlows. I'm hoping to get a clip point. I just can't afford to buy them at the minute, but actually he'll do me one eventually when he gets his books clear. Getting a clip point is what I need for my collection of his knives. This is in buffalo horn or something, I believe. You can't really tell in this. It has gone very dull, and I need to find out, and maybe if you've got a bit of advice of how to bring the luster back on that bone. What's the best thing to put on it? But as for a blade, it's just beautiful, and it's so thin. It just would slice and do anything you wanted to do. It's in carbon steel like all these knives are, or most of them anyway. But there you can see Wright Son. That is gorgeous. Now, this cost me about £20 or something, £25 on Etsy. The blade is off centre now. It's an older knife, this. But it's not look, I can show you there, but it's actually not rubbing the side of the blade. So to me, this is just an absolute cracker of a knife. If you know you're going to be doing a bit of down and dirty work, what a great knife to take with you. And it is blunt. It came blunt from Etsy. So what I'm going to do is probably this weekend, I'll do the sharpening video, and I'm behind on them. I'm going to use the new Work Sharp guided system, and I'll do a full sharpening in this live, and we'll have a little chat if that's what you want to see. I'll certainly have a go at doing that, and we'll see how it goes. But that's a lovely knife, and that's going to be a real using knife. What have we got down here? Now I'm going to go down to Taylor's Eyewitness, which is another one of the top branded. These knives are all made by Lee White, or most of the knives from Taylor's Eyewitness are Lee White. This is in a most brilliant wood. This is, what's it called? It's gone out of my blooming head now. Is it African? No. Oh, I can't blooming remember. But it's a beautifully configured bone on this, or the bone, wood on this knife. Gosh, I'm terrible. But it's a beautiful, again, a beautiful clip point. Slightly different than the Arthur Wright. I hope you can see the difference. But they do have this sturdy big middle bit, which gives you plenty of bearing down weight. This is a gorgeous Lee White. This is the top of the range. This is about £180 worth, 160 to 180, depending on when you buy them and where you buy them, all sorts. But it's a beautiful, beautiful knife. And I have it in two different wood handles, which is lovely. Now, this one's in a burl wood. Again, these are so shiny, these blades. There's such a high polish on them. Beautiful, beautiful blades. And the bolsters I love on these. They're fully stamped on both sides of the bolster. It's the same stamp on both sides, and then on the tang itself. But made to the highest specification. I think this one's the same. It's got the back spring that has been hand filed. Just stunning. So I don't normally collect two blades of the same. Now, I'd made the exception because this was wood, but it's not something I do. There's only one pattern I do that for, and it's my number 15 pattern, which is my favourite of my GECs, that I collect two knives that are exactly the same with just different scales. So, for my 10,000 giveaway, one of these two knives, I haven't decided yet which one I want to let go, and it's like splitting your children up. I love both of them, but one is going to go, and it's going to be the first prize in my 10,000 sub giveaway. Let me know which one you would like if you were to win. Not that it might sway my decision, because it'll come down to which one I can let go of my hand, but I just would like to know which one appeals to you, to see what the balance is of what people would like. Here's another one from Taylor's Eyewitness, and this is their lamb's foot, and this is in ram's horn. It is just absolutely, look, you can see right through that buttery translucence, as all the boys say. It is a stunning little knife. This is a light use knife. Not as strong a back spring on some of the Taylor's Eyewitness as there is on the Arthur Wright and Ashley Harrison knives. This is their basic model. This is their £30 knife. You don't have the highly polished blades or bolsters. You get a cheaper hardwood on it. But in all intents and purposes, this is a beautiful work knife for 30 quid. Look at, I mean, they don't all come as, maybe as good as this, but they're not far off it. Most of them are pretty good nowadays. But it's just a work knife. This is a knife that the local farmers and labourers would use in the UK. This really is a constant companion, along with some of the Arthur Wright. And I said these are just knives that are used by workmen. And listen to that. That's just that ringing in that for I think it was £33. Amazing, amazing knife. And along the top now, there's a lot of the more olders. This is a Wolstenholme knife. Beautiful. Again, a completely different clip point. This is more, I think, of as an American. And Wolstenholme spent a lot of time in America. More of an American type clip. Lovely bolster. I love the IXL on the bolster. They're just a beautiful, beautiful knife. I think it's wood, maybe a black Africa wood. I'm not sure. But isn't it just beautiful? It's just another lovely little, very much like the boy's knife, the GEC boy's knife. Just a lovely, lovely piece. This is another maker from here in the UK. This is a Michael May, and I know there's a bit of controversy. I don't really see eye to eye with him at the moment. But this is a knife he made for me, and this was it's a dark jean micarta with brass bolsters, the file back spring. And this is I have to say, this is a really well-made knife. As much as I sort of fell out with him because his fit and finish is not consistent enough for me, but this one is perfect. So I can only call what I've got. This is a perfect example of a Michael May. Whatever your opinion on him is, but it is a lovely knife, and I do enjoy that in my collection. This one, look at this. Look at that horn. Is that not just stunning? It's beautiful. It's not as nice on this side, but hey, when you've got that, what do you need? And again, this was I've forgotten the name again. This is a William Rogers. It's an older maker here in the UK. So this again I got off Etsy, maybe £30-40. Beautiful, beautiful knife. Really lovely, good blade, good blade stock on this. Not over thick, but not thin. Thin behind the edge though, but a really lovely work knife. There we go. I've showed you that. This is quite a lot of these sort. I think this is an old Hibberson. There was a big chunk out of the blade down here, but I filed it all down and then resharpened the whole blade. It's sharp right up to here. Very, very sharp. And it's just a penknife. Blades come from either side, a little pen blade on this side. This is a beautiful pocket dropper. Look how thin these are. This was really well made. This is an old knife. I mean, it really is a fair age of a knife. And then I've just started going for these sort. And this is they were really cheap at the time. Again, it's another little pen knife. Like a secretary's knife. You just got a little, you have a main spear and then a little pen blade on the other end of them. Just a little pen knife. And these were, when I was a boy, this is the sort of knife we would have had. They cost you a couple of pence. But this one was a Silver Jubilee, and it was 1977. And that was the year I joined the Navy. And I was on a beach in South Sea watching the flotilla out in the harbour. If you ever seen that, if you're of that age. There was a huge big flotilla for the Queen's birthday, and there I was, 18-year-old, just joined the Navy, and I was on the beach. So when I seen this come up on Etsy, I think I paid £20 for it or something. I can't remember. It's a really cheap knife that was made at the time as a souvenir and sold on the sides of the street. But it's great, so I'm going to try and get a wee bit some more knives that are not particularly royal family related, but just have little emblems on them that would take me back in time to my youth. And our knife collections were obviously a bit different than use on the other side of the shuck. Europeans are much like us. It's never been a great thing, knives. They've never been overloved. But, I mean, that's where my collection's going. And look, some of these knives, like these two and these three, yeah, they're not cheap knives, but they're so much more affordable than the modern knives that are coming out with all the fancy steels and whatever. And fancy steels, yeah, they're lovely. And if you want to test the steel, absolutely lovely. And I have them, I have the knives here that, that have all them fancy steels, your M390s. I mean, they're beautiful knives and I still love them. But it's very expensive to keep up with trends. It's incredibly expensive when you're on not a high income. I'm on a fixed income. So I've had more pleasure since I've changed over to collecting the traditional folders because I can buy more things. I can find more interest. I can collect different companies. I can specialize in different companies rather than having 10 Spydicos that are all much the same. To me, these just look so different, so exciting. The blade shapes are different. The handles are different. The materials are different. And, I can go for something like this, that's just over £100, that if I was to buy it as a custom high-end knife maker made, God knows what that would cost me. I'd never be able to afford something to this standard. And the standard of this is just first class. So whenever Ashley comes, his books are getting down to that stage where he's going to start taking orders, he said he would certainly let me know, and I will be the first to let you all know after I've ordered one for myself. So take care. But that's what I meant to say again about that. Go to Ashley's Instagram. It's aharrison.knives. You go on Instagram and he shows how he makes the knives, all the processes through making knives. And he puts knives sometimes for sale that if he makes a batch, he maybe has one extra and he just sells it there and then. So if you're not in it, you can't win it, as they say. So there you go. I know it was a bit of a rambly video. Went on nearly half an hour. But it was just to let you see that, yes, I've got my GECs. Yes, I've got my Shatton Morgans. But I've also got these that are in a completely, from the dearest here is about 180, going down to 20, 30 quid. And you buy what you can when you can afford it. And that's the joy. I'm not left, if I don't have a whole lot of money to buy an expensive knife. Sometimes I can pick up 2 or 3 knives for under £100 that are, in fact, I can pick up more than that sometimes for under 100. But I'm still getting a really good knife that I can use and I can use safely. So there you go. Was it waffle? Was it not? You decide. But I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. You are amazing. If there's any other of these that you would like to see reviews on, especially the older ones you mightn't have seen, let me know and I'll stick wee reviews up on them for you. But there will be a full review coming on this one and this one. And I'll probably just recap on this one again because, it's the plainest looking one. But it is every bit as good a work knife as anything I've ever had. It's beautiful. So there you go. Right, Paddy's away. I'm going to waffle on if I keep on going here. Nearly 30 minutes. Love yous all. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.